Boulevard in the 10th Council District, there's a black-owned restaurant called The District. Apparently, the restaurant is in some sort of legal dispute with the landlord, and it's gotten pretty ugly. So ugly, in fact, that the 3 black members of the LA City Council recorded a video in support of the restaurant, which is now circulating online. You might have seen it by now. To be clear, here at KBLA, we have nothing but love for Council members Heather Hutt and Curran D. Price Jr., who have been real champions for this particular black-owned and operated business, even though KBLA does not sit in either of their council districts. But take a listen to our 8th District Council member, Marquise Harris Dawson, who, as you know, is also president of the LA City Council.
Marquise Harris Dawson, president of the Los Angeles City Council and representative of District 8. We just want you to know, from the 10th District to the 8th District and all across the city, we love the district. We support Tyree and the whole team that's there. It's one of the most beloved sports watching facilities in our district, and we all stand by them 100%.
All right, now for starters, lip service is not leadership, and slogans are not solutions. That said, I played that video at least 5 times. I mean, I was gobsmacked. The council president stands with black businesses 100%? Oh, really? Is that just in the 10th Council District? Good brother, you need to travel south down Crenshaw about a half mile. When you get to Vernon, get out the car and walk a few blocks. Ask the black business owners in your 8th Council District how they feel about being economically asphyxiated, not by an alleged predatory landlord, but by a city project that you launched years ago and cannot seem to get across the finish line. Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? What is the point of having a black city council president if he cannot find the funds to finish a years delayed project in his own district? What is the point of having a black city council president who cannot curate a business interruption development fund for the suffocating businesses in his own district? I declare, these black faces in high places don't mean diddly squat if they cannot deliver for black people. In the next editorial, I'm going to tell you what accountability looks like. And if the city still can't figure it out, well, I guess we'll have to show them what accountability looks like. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. It's time for Freedmen Friday. This is a little something we do every Friday around here where we focus on reparations. I decided to go ahead and stream on Instagram as well. We always stream on Facebook and YouTube at KBLA 1580. I'm on my own Instagram, which is Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA. And then radio. Look, we've been doing this for almost 2 years. Every Friday, we want to make sure we are up on what is going on when it comes to reparations. And because there's stuff moving in cities, counties, towns, states every single day. And in order for us to make this happen, to be part of the solution, to not be ignorant, to spread accurate information. We need to stay connected with what is happening in the reparations space. I'm really, really excited to welcome our next guest. I've never had a chance to talk with her before. She's an attorney, she's a columnist, and a professor. She works on fostering equitable multiracial democracy. Her debut book is The Originalism Trap: How Extremists Stole the Constitution and How We the People Can Get It Back. Boy, we could do a whole session on the Supreme Court, the extreme court, but we will not have time for that today. We're focused on reparations. She is the deputy editor and senior contributor at the legal commentary outlet Balls and Strikes. And she's got a powerful article out right now about what's happening in Evanston. Madiba Dennie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, for people not familiar, explain the program in Evanston. The first people to give out cash reparations in the country, is my understanding.
Yeah, Evanston is the first city to do a municipal reparations program. They got this started around 2019. Their city council passed multiple resolutions basically acknowledging, hey, we have a history of doing wrong by Black people, specifically about housing. They looked at a law that the city council had passed in 1919 that really kickstarted legalized racial segregation in like their housing with their zoning laws. Before that, there was some segregation, but Black people also lived in like different neighborhoods in the city. But when they passed that law in 1919, it really put the fire behind like a really like racially discriminatory initiative to concentrate Black people in like one area that they then targeted for disinvestment. They didn't get schools, parks, playgrounds, grocery stores, libraries, any of that. And this was compounded by, these like banks then, worked with redlining. So looking at the history of all of that, Evanston City Council said, okay, we got to do something about this. They acknowledged the harm and they created and funded a program that would say, okay, you can get $25,000 in housing-related grants and later in direct cash assistance. If you are a Black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969 when the Fair Housing Act was created, or if your Black direct descendants still live in the city, then that's available. These reparations funds are available to them as well. So that's what Evanston has been doing, and it is pretty groundbreaking as far as city government programs go. Like there have been, and we can get into this later, there have been some other reparations efforts before, but something that a local government is doing like this, we haven't really seen. At least for Black people. So this is a really exciting effort. It's helped serve as a model for other cities trying to pursue their own reparations programs. So of course, white supremacists are unhappy about it.
Yeah, and I do want to get into that because that's, there's much more to this, I think, than people thought. I mean, your article helped illuminate that. And it's in Balls and Strikes if y'all want to look for it. But it's interesting that the timing, 1919, right? There's a sort of national wave of repression and terror against Black people right around this period.
Right. There's a reason why it's 1919 when Evanston City Council put something on the books for the first time. And if you look at, demographic trends at the time, and as you said, like there was, waves of oppression happening, there were lots of Black people, fleeing the South. We had the Great Migration was happening at that time. And so Evanston really saw its Black population increase dramatically. In 1880, there were only like 125 Black people who lived in Evanston. By 1920, there were over 2,000. And by 1940, there were over 6,000. So then you had the city council saying, oh, whoa, I don't know about this. I don't know about having all these Black people here. we gotta do something about this. And so they did the thing that white supremacist lawmakers often do, which is, exploiting Black people financially, subordinating them under law.
So they're basically herded or, contained into one area where Black people are allowed to be in Evanston. And it is, as you said, it's defunded, meaning there's no schools, no grocery stores. It's a familiar story. I think this is really significant, too, for people who track reparations and in conversation with the California Reparations Task Force report, which opened a lot of people's eyes to the fact that reparations is not just about enslavement. It is very much about subsequent harms. And this story in Evanston is really personifying why that's important and why that is true.
That's precisely right. I think that a lot of times when you hear people who are dismissive of reparations, they're like, oh, why should you get some sort of payment for something that didn't happen to you or happened to maybe your great grandparents or what have you, or something that's like hundreds of years ago. But the Evanston program and work like California's Reparations Task Force and the New Jersey Reparations Council, which I've had an opportunity to be involved with, really try to make the connections of there is ongoing harm. Things didn't stop when chattel slavery stopped. Even slavery itself did not stop. We just got other forms of it. And so trying to really connect the dots for folks and say, there have been policies and practices throughout American history, and at the state level and the local level as well, that really work to, reinforce this racial hierarchy on which Black people are supposed to be on the bottom rung. And that's something, that if governments have been a part of that or fail to stop that or complicit in it, they also have the ability and the duty, the obligation to do something about it.
Indeed, they do. We're talking to Madiba Dennie. She's an attorney, a columnist, and a professor, talking reparations like we do every Friday, particularly Evanston. And when we come forward, we'll look at what the Justice Department, what the Trump administration is trying to do now, why they're trying to do it, is it likely to be successful, that and more. You can find the article that I'm referring to, her latest, ballsandstrikes.org, ballsandstrikes.org. It's an eye-opener. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements.
Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Okay. So if you're listening on Instagram, you get a little behind the scenes because I'm talking to my phone. But I'm really excited to have attorney Madiba Dennie here. She's a columnist and a professor at ballsandstrikes.org. She's also done legal commentary for The Atlantic, The Washington Post, BBC, MSNBC, and more. And I was speaking on IG, Madiba, during News, Traffic, and Sports, about the way that this administration likes to play in our face. Because, but why decide to do this on Juneteenth? Why decide to jump in to this particular dispute on Juneteenth?
Right. The timing is really remarkable. The administration is doing terrible things all the time, but there's this sense of really this like added mockery and insult. Or hell, maybe they had no idea. They just don't care so much at all. But yeah, it seemed intentional and deeply ironic as well, right? And that you think of the legacy of Juneteenth. You think of these enslaved people learning that they had been freed, but they hadn't actually gotten that information yet. Learning that people can be free in theory, but not actually in practice, and that there's work that remains to make sure that people can access the freedom that they ostensibly already have under law. And so you have that idea, we're called upon to do the work that remains, to reflect on how do we actually get from here to there, to make multiracial democracy real. But is that what the Trump administration does on Juneteenth? No, it is not. Instead, they work to stop those efforts, to block people who are trying to do that work by, intervening in this lawsuit and trying to say that Evanston's reparations program is actually unlawful.
Yeah, well, and this is pretty extraordinary, and you explain in the article how it's kind of an exception for the Justice Department to step in around a city measure, a city-level ordinance or program.
Yeah, so the Justice Department has the authority to do so, to intervene in lawsuits that are, filed that are about equal protection clause or about sort of constitutional issues. But it's not something they do regularly, and the Attorney General has to certify, saying, "Oh, I'm intervening because this is really important." And here, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche did that in this case. And so I think a bunch of reparations advocates, both like nationally and folks who are working in Evanston specifically, sort of raised an eyebrow at this. And, saying, oh, why is this so important to you? Like, is this because you recognize the potential our program has? That it can inspire others to do similar programs, that it can inspire others to, call for reparations at the federal level as well. And also, just because you hate to see Black people succeeding that intensely, that you feel the need to put, the weight and resources of the federal government to crack down on this municipal reparations program.
Do you think there's an element of it that is because of the cash component? I mean, I feel like even people that are willing to do so-called apologies or sort of fake reparations programs or mild ones balk at cash. I can't, we always hear reparations is about more than cash, which usually is code for we're not going to give you any. Do you think that's a piece of it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because, there were material harms that were done to people in the course of these racist housing policies. And so the city is attempting to make material amends. And I think that the way the administration sees that and the way that, white supremacists see that is like, these Black people are getting something that I'm not. They are getting something that they shouldn't be getting, and that's unfair. There's a problem with that. And in the lawsuit, the non-Black residents of Evanston who sued, like their complaint basically asks for that we too should get $25,000. Because that's how much the reparations program in Evanston
right. So
is.
So the white people want reparations for what? They weren't harmed, but like on what basis? Because we're white, or is it white grievance? Like what on? We saw the fake reparations or whatever he called it, the anti-weaponization fund. Yeah, which I said all Black people should apply for that because all of us have had government weaponized against us, but it looks like that's maybe going away. But what is the basis for them saying the white folks in Evanston should get the same repair even though they didn't have this harm?
Right. So the way that the white residents in Evanston, the way their complaint is written, they basically try to say, we would be able to apply for this reparations program if not for the racial eligibility component, because to be eligible for this program, it's like you need to be a Black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969, or the direct descendant of one of those people. And so these white folks are saying, hey, like I could have been burdened by these policies, and I can't even apply because of this like racial eligibility part. So you need to be able to have people who aren't just Black apply, because theoretically they could have been harmed by these anti-Black policies as well. The federal government, they try to make a little more sense of that a little bit. They're like, say you were like a Latino person or a Jewish person and you were also discriminated against, and you too were forced into this like racially segregated zone, like that was largely designated for Black people. Or say it was say there was someone in like an interracial marriage, and so they're like, well, yeah, they were a different race, but they too experienced that sort of like disinvestment because they were living with their partner, and so the housing laws that affected their partner affected them too by proxy. And it's like, okay, you can make this sort of tenuous connection, but that should not prevent the city from, actually addressing the direct harm that they inflicted on these people. Like a city is allowed to make amends and like target like the actual group that was the target of the harms. So it's really sort of nonsensical, just like trying to erect obstacles for the city in, actually addressing the harm that they're responsible for.
Yeah, they're, almost like making up excuses or making up bizarre scenarios. But a lot of times in the past, and I think one of the reasons why reparations ended up being more handled in this round, and we only have a couple minutes here before news, traffic, and sports. We'll continue on the other side so we can maybe start this. But in the courts, I remember Charles Ogletree and those folks, they were told, one, they didn't have standing, but also people were being ruled out on the basis of the criteria is race, right? And that's been one of the big arguments for lineage-based reparations. It seems to me the Evanston criteria is not just race, it is a specific group. It is a specific group that was harmed. So how does this race argument even work when you're talking about a specific group in a designated time frame that were impacted by an actual existing program?
Right. It should, in theory, like assuming that the law is applied as it should make that argument more difficult, because it's not doing the sort of caricatured version in racist people's heads where it's like, oh, just because you're black, you get this handout of like this, that, and the other. And, but it's very specific. It's you're a black person who lived in this city in this time period when we were doing this illegal thing. So it is, the legal word for this is narrowly tailored. Saying that it is, precisely scoped to address that particular harm, because there's there are higher standards involved when laws involve race. So you say they need to be narrowly tailored to address a compelling government interest. And so I think it should be possible to make that case here, saying, yeah, there's a compelling government interest in that we recognize that we're doing these racially discriminatory housing policies. And so we are making up for that. And then it's narrowly tailored in that they got this particular time window. And, just the people who were affected by the laws in that time. So I think that what the white supremacists might say is that that's making assumptions, that you don't necessarily know that these black folks actually experience racism. You're just sort of assuming that.
Okay, hold that thought, Professor. We'll continue the thread when we come forward. We've got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then more. It's a Freedmen Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Timmy Eswick with BIN News Now. The family of Jabari Peoples say they're still heartbroken and looking for answers after Peoples was shot and killed by a Homewood, Alabama cop. It happened about a year ago, and his family held a vigil this week to honor his memory while still demanding justice. Peoples, who was 18 years old at the time, was in a parked car when he got into some type of altercation with that cop. Here's one activist speaking to WBRC.
We're calling to our people to stand up, to fight back, to get loud.
Well, the Mississippi Supreme Court says it will not hear an appeal from the Hinds County School District after they fired an assistant principal, Toby Price, in 2022 after he read the book, I Need a New Butt, to a second grade class. Federal probation officers say they want Lil Bootsy's probation revoked after they say he got into some type of incident in Texas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams will play her first singles match in 4 years against 20-year-old Maya Joint of Australia. Serena and Joint will meet up Tuesday in the first round of Wimbledon in London. Joint, ranked number 53 in the World Tennis Association rankings, is 20 years younger than Serena. The Compton native is playing her first singles match since the U.S. Open in 2022. Serena has won the Wimbledon Singles Championship 7 times. She and her sister Venus are playing in the Wimbledon doubles competition. Wimbledon starts on Monday. The U.S. men's soccer team needs to regroup after losing to Turkey 3-2 Thursday night in the World Cup at SoFi. The U.S. had already qualified for next week's knockout round before Thursday's match. Several of the team's frontline players did not play. The U.S. Group D champions will play Bosnia Wednesday in the round of 32 in Santa Clara. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements.
Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, Your voice. Be there.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
It's a Freedmen Friday, so we are talking reparations. We've got a great mind with us on the phone. Madiba Dennie is an attorney, a columnist, and a professor, and the deputy editor and senior contributor to the critical legal commentary outlet Balls and Strikes. Talking Evanston, and you were breaking down why the Trump administration's joining in the lawsuit to try to stop the reparations program there in Evanston probably would not be successful if the law was fairly applied. That's a big if right now, looking at this extreme court, because it's what you call narrowly tailored. And you were right in the middle of breaking that down.
Yeah. So the way the court's sort of precedence and jurisprudence has worked, they have made it very difficult to pass any sort of like race conscious remedies. But so if it involves race, they uses this standard called like strict scrutiny. So like literally it's just like we're looking at this pretty hard. Where we're seeing like and there are sometimes good reasons for this, saying, we want to make sure you're not doing anything sus with race because that's usually what this country does. So if you are using race, they want to ask, do you have a really good reason for doing so? And are you trying to use race in a sort of like cabined way? And I think that, the reparations program in Evanston should easily clear that bar. Yes, they have a very good reason for doing so. They had passed anti-Black laws and they're trying to do something about it. So they are fixing the racist harm that they did. Like that should be a really good reason. And is it, are they using race in this, limited capacity? And again, the answer is yes. It's not just, any Black person who like comes into Illinois. It's, did you live in Evanston in this particular time period where we were, implementing these racist policies? Or do you have are you the direct descendant of someone who experienced that, who like lives in the city of Evanston now? Because if you did, it's basically recognizing that, that harm didn't stop. It had costs that carry on for generations, by influencing where people could live, what resources they had access to, how their homes were valued, and, what wealth they had the opportunity to generate or what wealth was extracted from them. Because, we also had, along with those zoning policies, for Black folks who lived outside of that area, their homes were often demolished to pave the way for new economic development, like building a football stadium instead of like the houses where these Black people lived. So there are tangible harms here that people, continue to experience the effects of. That doesn't just stop one day. And so I think what we're seeing from the white folks who are challenging the policy and also from the Trump administration with their attempted intervention is a lot of skepticism. They're skeptical of the idea that if you were Black in Evanston, even at that time, you did experience harm. And they are certainly skeptical that descendants would be experiencing any effects of that. They're trying to do this was so long ago. And notice how that window is getting shorter. Like with with slavery, they're like, oh, that was so long ago. But now it's like even this like Jim Crow era like policy, like that too was so long ago. Like they constantly want folks to move on and get over things, but Jim Crow hasn't gotten over it. People are still experiencing the financial inequality that had caused, that these policies had caused.
Well, in the Evanston,
but yeah.
The Evanston policy, you said, originated in 1918, but how long was that in effect?
It was in effect until at earliest 1969. because that's when the Fair Housing Act was
really
passed
not
at the federal
that long.
level.
I mean, it's not that long ago, right? I mean,
it's like living memory for lots of people.
I'll tell you what, it isn't. It's not as long ago as the Holocaust. I'm just saying. So, why is it that this country? Why this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why is it that this country is willing to pay reparations to everybody except for Black people?
Right. Yeah. And I'm so glad you raised that, because that is something that gets lost a lot. That, you know, reparations, it isn't something that's novel. It is something that the government has done before. They paid reparations to slave owners, you know, the enslavers rather than the people who were enslaved, to compensate them for their lost property. Some states had laws that did so as well, in addition to the federal government's laws. The federal government has, you know, given some financial compensation to tribal nations. I will say that one's, you know, a little more complicated because it was definitely still undervalued, and B, a lot of tribal nations are like, thanks, but we don't actually want money. We want our land back. But
we'll take that too. Yeah. So there's a really interesting conversation going on in the chat right now, our YouTube chat, Madiba, Dennie, because we do Freedmen Friday every week. People know we're going to be talking about this. Paul Lee is saying that it's Edward Bloom who's going throughout the country targeting Black people because he's heard we didn't support his political ambitions. He's talking about the Fearless Fund and the attacks. We see the attacks on the Black Student Achievement Fund here in LA and affirmative action. And then Pop Dop says Ed Blum hasn't challenged a lineage or status-based policy for foundational Black Americans or freedmen. Blum uses people like Asians to make a case against race-based policies.
So I have a couple thoughts there. One is I'm glad that Ed Blum was mentioned because he really is a pernicious figure. He's sort of like at the center of like a lot of conservative funding. There's like a lot of money that goes into him funding his sort of like escapades, tackling any sort of like race conscious program. And that's interesting. I don't know if I knew that he had not challenged lineage based specifically programs. That could be just because there aren't as much of those. Like I'm sure that when there was a prominent enough one. Yeah. That like I'm like I don't think that Ed Blum would be like, oh, you got me. Like that's I'll have to step back now. Like I'm pretty sure he would say this is still racial discrimination. And the I had one more thing. What was it going to be?
Well, it'll come back to you, but I do believe that sometimes they're saying that the Blum argument that I've heard is that lineage is a proxy for race.
Right, exactly. So he would say, yeah, even if you are, and that proxy argument is also expanding because like, I think like we used to hear a lot of these racist people say, well, you know, what about using socioeconomic status? Because like that's
race neutral.
But there could be that's race neutral. There could be some, you know, Oprah exists. So there could be a rich Black person. So what about using socioeconomic status? But now we see that the Trump administration is going after those policies too, saying, oh, that's just a proxy for race. So I don't actually think that it's some sort of, you know, like a clever workaround to say we'll just do like a lineage-based policy because I don't think that that's going to be convincing to them. But I do think it is a good point that, you know, they are trying to sort of like weaponize and like divide multiracial coalitions. Like Ed Blum does go out of his way to be like, despite all his saying, oh, it's so wrong to look at race-specific stuff, he will be like, I need to find an Asian plaintiff.
Yeah, right.
I need to find an Asian person to bring this lawsuit.
Which to me, I mean, in my mind, I'm not a lawyer, but I keep thinking there has to be a way of saying that, and this isn't directly reparations. But there has to be a way of saying that your whites-only refugee policy, that we only bring in white South Africans, isn't that DEI? Isn't that affirmative action?
Right.
Isn't that a race-based? Somehow it seems race-based to me. It's just not an advantage of black people.
Right. Yeah, and I think that sort of exposes the hypocrisy and the intellectual, legal, and moral bankruptcy that is so central to the Supreme Court's precedents when it comes to basically any sort of discrimination, except for what they deem to be like anti-white discrimination. And that's same with the Trump administration as well. Like they love to go after any sort of like race-conscious remedy. They love to go after anything that's like specifically helping people who were hurt. And they say that like that's a problem because it's taking race into account or taking gender into account, and saying like you're not allowed to do that, like that makes it race discrimination or sex discrimination or what have you. And yet they will turn around and like really embrace these same I shouldn't even say these same concepts, embrace caricatures of that concept in order to further their own white supremacist patriarchal goals.
Caricatures of a concept is a bar. So could this go all the way to the extreme court, and where they use this, the Evanston case, to shut down lineage-based, or any kind of reparations program that says anything about people being anything about race? Could they use it to shut down reparations to the point where any reparations has to also include white people, Asians, Latinos, or everybody?
I mean, I would say it's certainly possible. I would also say that is a very long time. That's like very future horizon stuff, because this case is like just getting started. Like it's still like at the, still at the complaint stage, like before the district court. So it should, again, I guess I should say it should, in theory, since lots of legal stuff has been really fast and loose. It should, in theory, there are like a lot of steps that would have to happen before it reaches the Supreme Court. And again, in theory, even if it were to reach the Supreme Court, it would do so on a particular question, right? Like the court is not supposed to just do its own thing. It's supposed to have like a question has reached the court now answers that question. We do now live in a world where the court is doing any kind of thing, it feels like. I find myself in a sort of like an interesting position when people ask me like, oh, like, is this legal thing possible? And I'm like, well, it shouldn't be, but also we'll see.
Yeah. Wow.
Because the court just be doing things. So we'll see what happens. But I think that does lead me to the good point though, of that any sort of program that we care about, whether it's like reparations or like any other sort of like social justice or like pro-democracy law policy that we want, if we are serious about it, we also need to be serious about court reform, because the Supreme Court is just such an obstacle to multiracial democracy outright. Like they want to, I view the court as a super legislature of Klansmen, basically. Just doing whatever they want to do to effectuate their own white supremacist policies. And so any policy that is democratically passed is in danger from the court. So we need to, if we are to, have these positive policies that, like help people, that facilitate racial justice instead of thwarting it or facilitating injustice, then we're going to have to change the court and change, the way we think about the Constitution as well.
Attorney Madiba Dennie is our guest. It is a Freedmen Friday. I want to look at the big picture, zoom out to the UN and the sort of greater Trumpian crusade against reparations. Get your legal thoughts on that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity. And you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out, not for everyone. Because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-324-3030. That's 800-324-3030. Again, that's 800-324-3030.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Right, we're talking with Madiba Dennie. She's an attorney, a columnist, a professor, and you can check out her writings online. She's got a great article right now about what's happening with the Trump administration in Evanston reparations. You're on social media as well, I would assume.
I am, yes.
What's your handle?
Yeah, so you can find me on Blue Sky, or I guess my handle is Audrey Lauder Mercy. That's AudreyLawda Mercy.blacksky.app.
Excellent. So first, I think Trump did an executive order saying that we're not going to be part of the UN's, anti-racism body, calling it DEI. Then the U.S., Israel, and Argentina were the only ones to vote against naming the enslavement of black people as the gravest crime against humanity and calling for reparations. I remember he called out Kamala Harris on Twitter saying she was going to bring reparations, and that was one of his put downs of her. Now, clearly he has joined the quest to stop Evanston. Clearly he has a bigger agenda when it comes to stopping reparations, not just in that one city, but has kind of declared war on it.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point in that, Evanston is like one part of a whole. It's not just about stopping reparations there. It's about stopping reparations, period. And also about stopping, multiracial solidarity and cross-racial organizing. They don't want that to happen. They want their little white supremacist universe and to enforce these a strict social political caste system. And reparations is a threat to that. Both in the sense of, I think the democratic process that led to reparations, they disapprove of. Sort of people working together to address harms that were inflicted on racial lines, and the idea that it could restore some of the wealth that was lost, that it could change the financial footing and the ability of these folks to participate in American society on the same level as everybody else. So reparations is inherently threatening in that way. You are worried about repair if you want to do the harm, not repair the harm.
Yeah. Well, I really, really appreciate you joining us this morning, Attorney Madiba Dennie. We've got 60 seconds here. What would you like to leave us with?
Oh, man. Okay. I would like to leave you with reparations is possible. As we see from Evanston, and also the administration is scared, as we see from their attempted intervention. To say that their motion to intervene also, relies on a bunch of the nonsense that the Supreme Court has been saying about how we should think about race and how we should think about the Constitution. And so we need to be thinking about both race and the Constitution differently.
Wow, she did it in 30. Madiba Dennie, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. I appreciate the conversation and your insights.
Yeah, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
We are talking Cuba next hour. Oh, by the way, ballsandstrikes.org if you want to see her article on Evanston and other such. We'll be joined by Tandiwe Abdullah, live and in person, Akili on the phone. They just got back from Cuba, and they will give us a report back. All that straight ahead. It's a Freedmen Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Timmy Esquick with BIN News Now. The family of Jabari Peoples say they're still heartbroken and looking for answers after Peoples was shot and killed by a Homewood, Alabama cop. It happened about a year ago, and his family held a vigil this week to honor his memory while still demanding justice. Peoples, who was 18 years old at the time, was in a parked car when he got into some type of altercation with that cop. Here's one activist speaking to WBRC.
We're calling to our people to stand up, to fight back, to get loud.
Well, the Mississippi Supreme Court says it will not hear an appeal from the Hinds County School District after they fired an assistant principal, Toby Price, in 2022 after he read the book I Need a New Butt to a second grade class. Federal probation officers say they want Lil Bootsy's probation revoked after they say he got into some type of incident in Texas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams will play her first singles match in 4 years against 20-year-old Maya Joint of Australia. Serena and Joint will meet up Tuesday in the first round of Wimbledon in London. Joint, ranked number 53 in the World Tennis Association rankings, is 20 years younger than Serena. The Compton native is playing her first singles match since the U.S. Open in 2022. Serena has won the Wimbledon Singles Championship 7 times. She and her sister Venus are playing in the Wimbledon doubles competition. Wimbledon starts on Monday. The U.S. men's soccer team needs to regroup after losing to Turkey 3-2 Thursday night in the World Cup at SoFi. The U.S. had already qualified for next week's knockout round before Thursday.